Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. My day is going pretty good indeed. The weather's a bit crap here today, but I chose to wash the car. Of all stupid things to do today, I washed the bloody car. Anyway, today we are reacting to why American and European trucks are so different. Now, I think about this quite often because in South Africa we used to have a brand or a company name called Bell, B-E-L-L trucks, and they were freaking awesome. Whenever I hitchhiked anywhere, I'd hope that one of them picked me up. They were those long nose, big, meaty, proper looking trucks, and I eventually got a lift in one of them the one day, and it was freaking awesome, and I've loved the look of them ever since. Here in Europe, the trucks are, they're an absolute bloody nuisance. They're a nightmare. I nearly got taken out by a truck yesterday. They don't stop when they're meant to stop. They cut you off. They just drive like maniacs. I know that's nothing to do with the design or anything, but it's more to do with the drivers. They just frustrate the life of me. I like the look of one of those big beefy trucks. So we're going to be checking this video out today, but before we do, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and if you're feeling extra frisky, you may as well give the video a like as well. I do have a Buy Me a Coffee page and a Patreon page linked down in the description if you want to help support the channel. That will be freaking awesome. And without further ado, let's check out why American and European trucks are so different.
Why European and American trucks are so different. American and European semi-trucks are very different. In America, you see all the trucks with a long nose and wheelbase with the cabin behind the engine, whereas trucks in Europe are cab-over trucks where the cabin is above the engine. But why are they so different, and what are the advantages and disadvantages? Let's take a look at it. Livable. One of the reasons why the American trucks have bigger cabs is that...
I was just going to say, when we were picked up by that Bell truck, it was me and a friend of mine, it was like a house. It was so freaking awesome. It had beds and that in there. The guy had a fridge. It was so... And this is when I was a kid. I was probably 13, 14 years old. So God knows what they're like now. I loved seeing them. You didn't see them often in South Africa, but I really, really loved when I saw them. I'd always make a point of like saying, oh, look, Bell truck. We'd always be like, oh, yeah.
Livable.
So, yeah.
One of the reasons why the American trucks have bigger cabs is that owner-operators are very common in the US and not so much in Europe.
Ah.
These people own their trucks and pretty much live in them for months at a time. Because they spend so much time, and some have to live in the cabin, these cabins are quite a bit larger and have more features in the cabin. Such as a fridge,
the one I was in, there's
microwave,
nothing like that.
freezer, wardrobe, large bed, windows, and some even have their own toilet. Owners modify their trucks to include huge living compartments, something not so common in Europe. It is, of course, also possible to spend several days in a truck with a cab over, but the comfort is just not nearly as high. Long, wide roads. Much of an American truck's life is spent on the interstate system, where the lanes are wide and the roads are straight. For that reason, the long wheelbase of the truck is acceptable and typically makes the ride much more comfortable. Considering they are allowed to drive up to 12 hours every 24 hours, whereas European truckers can only drive 9 hours, that extra comfort is important. European semi-trucks are lighter and have shorter wheelbases, which makes them significantly easier to maneuver. Essentially, they are more compact and easier to work with in traffic and urban environments, which is perfect for the narrow roads in Europe.
When I was downloading this video, I saw one of the comments. I think it's the top comment on the video. It said, a truck driver in Europe is a job and it's a lifestyle in America. And that makes sense, I suppose. I don't know if I could do it, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong, I love driving. I think the loneliness would get me. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I missed something there. I don't know. Who knows?
Also, the cab-over has a better overview and less blind spots, which increase safety noticeably, where the larger bonnets and A-pillars on the American trucks make it difficult for drivers to get a clear view of traffic.
They look so awesome, though. In comparison, there's no comparison.
Strict regulations. Stricter regulations in Europe make for different trucks. For starters, a European semi-truck can only be 18.75 meters, or about 61 feet. Some countries have some exceptions, but generally that is the rule. Because of these restrictions, European trucks have to be as short as possible so they can tow more cargo. Considering American cabs can be 20 feet long, that only leaves 40 feet of room for cargo. So, in order to make more room for cargo, the cab has to be as short as possible. Similar requirements in the US have been revoked back in 1986, and trucks now can be much longer. Actually, back in the day, cab-over trucks were quite popular in the US, but without strict limitations, roomier and more convenient to live with conventional design trucks prevailed. Speed and aerodynamics. A big difference between the European semi-trucks and American ones is that in Europe, the speed is limited to 90 kilometers per hour. But in some places in the US, trucks are allowed to reach 129 and even 137 kilometers per hour.
I thought he was going to say miles per hour. I was going to be like, holy shit, that's so fast.
It is on the long straight roads, at high speed, the better aerodynamic.
Those bastards, you see with all the logs on the back? That is what we have got all over here, and they're a nightmare. I suppose it doesn't help that we live near a paper mill, but holy smokes, they nearly take... I've nearly been taken out by a truck. I don't know how many times since we lived here. I said to Kat today, actually, we were going into town. I said, so it's quite scary here that every time you get into the car, you've got to really consider that you're taking your life into your hands here, because the people, especially the lorry drivers, drive like absolute idiots.
And longer wheelbase is a clear advantage for the long-nosed trucks, which are created for the long trips. Conclusion. So, the reason why there is such a big difference between trucks in Europe compared to America is that they are used in different ways. There are different rules that must be observed, both in terms of speed, driving time, lengths, weight, etc. And that there is a big difference between roads and the infrastructure.
Yeah, the roads, I think, are the main.
So, one is not necessarily better than the other, but they are adapted to the needs of truck owners, the driver, and the government requirements. Which is your favorite? Thanks for watching.
I can tell you which is my favorite. Right now, it's the American ones, purely by looks. That's all I'm going off. I'm not going to say I like a truck. Ooh, I love trucks. No, but out of looks, I don't know. They just look, to me, so much better. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was more owner. That's quite interesting, that people own their trucks a lot more in America. That's pretty cool, to be honest with you. Imagine owning a truck. But they do in Australia as well, don't they? I've seen a few, what was the thing? Outback Truckers, I think it was. I used to watch on TV, and they used to own their trucks as well. They had some cool looking trucks too. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. I didn't realize that the rules, the length thing was different. I thought they were the same length regardless. I had no idea that they were longer. So that makes, obviously the cab's longer, but I mean with the trailer. So that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, the trucks here are just idiots. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. I forgot what I was going to say. Peace. Today we are reacting to why American and European trucks are so different. And I think about this quite often because did I just have food on my lip the whole time? I do apologize.